Illegitimate Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch is not satisfied with giving Donald Trump nearly total immunity. The guy who has nothing to say about the grifting Clarence Thomas, the guy who has nothing to say about Samuel Alito openly supporting the insurrectionist cause, that guy, Neil Gorsuch, does have something to say to Joe Biden, and it's basically a threat. We're going to take a look at what he had to say in just a moment. But yes, we're talking about a guy who was nominated to the court illegitimately in the first place. Watch and listen to Gorsuch do a Texas two-step as he tries to set up his upcoming threats.
But first, Shannon sat down with Justice Neil Gorsuch at the Supreme Court and has his response to President Biden's proposed reforms.
You are not in a bubble here at the court. There are real-world events happening. The president has proposed now changes to the court, supported, it appears, by the vice president, who looks like she's going to be the Democratic nominee. How does the court feel about potential changes, term limits, ethics codes that are enforced by someone in ways that it isn't now?
Shannon, you're not going to be surprised that I'm not going to get into what is now a political issue during a presidential election year. I don't think that would be helpful.
Oh, well, thank goodness. I was afraid there for a minute that a right-wing Supreme Court justice appearing on Fox would get political. So, okay, I get it. He's going to rise above politics. Well, then what's the point of going on Fox, Neil?
I have one thought to add. It is that the independent judiciary means, what does it mean to you as an American? It means that when you're unpopular, you can get a fair hearing under the law and under the Constitution. If you're in the majority, you don't need judges and juries to hear you and protect your rights. You're popular. It's there for the moments when the spotlight's on you, when the government's coming after you.
A civics lesson. Well, thank you for that, Justice Gorsuch, because I know most of us go to bed at night absolutely terrorized that the government is going to come after us. We're not worried about gun nuts shooting up our schools so they can achieve a moment of immortality and go out in a blaze of glory. We're not worried about corporations making mega profits while they deny climate change. And we are certainly not worried about a right-wing political candidate openly promoting the transition to an autocracy where we will, quote, never have to vote again. No, we're not worried about those things. We are worried that the government is going to come after us, especially since it happens all the time. But what's really remarkable here is that this setup for future court decisions that will exonerate a disgraced former president is not even the main point. The main point is to threaten Biden. Watch and listen.
And don't you want a ferociously independent judge and a jury of your peers to make those decisions? Isn't that your right as an American? And so I just say, be careful.
Be careful? Be careful of what precisely? What a complete and utter tool this man is. This court has no legitimacy left to its name. It showed its complete disregard for the Constitution when it handed the electoral process to corporations in the Citizens United decision. Then it threw out established precedent out the window by overturning Roe, followed by Trump's immunity, gutting environmental protections, and then placing government agencies under the court's supervision. In 1 year, this court has managed to surpass both Dred Scott and Plessy versus Ferguson. And yet Gorsuch wants Biden to be careful? The sheer and unmitigated arrogance of this court is not only mind-numbing, but it is proof that we need a blue tsunami in Rovember. We need to impeach Thomas and Alito and then expand the court, neither of which needs a constitutional amendment. For her part, Kamala Harris has absolutely got to replace Merrick Garland with Jack Smith. But we need to help her do it by voting in majorities in both the House and the Senate. Neil Gorsuch is on parade here, showing us the vision of the society that is to come in their right-wing dreams, filled with these patristic know-it-alls who believe they got there based on merit, and the rest of us need to be subject to their intelligence and their domain. We need to vote these tools out. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.